It took overtime for the Miami Dolphins to defeat the 3-9 New York Jets. And I'm sorry, but I'm not happy about this at all. It's absolutely pathetic, and it's an absolute disgrace that it even got to this point where it took overtime to beat a 3-9 New York Jets team that flat out stinks. Old man Rodgers was carving up the Dolphins defense all day. And if it wasn't for the Dolphins winning the coin toss, the Jets would have absolutely won this football game. And the Dolphins would be sitting here at 5-8. I'm not even happy about this win. This team stinks. They looked like they had no heart out there at some points in the game, or they didn't even want to be there. They showed shots of Mike McDaniel on the sideline, and when he's calling plays, his hands are shaking. This man is so nervous about calling plays. He's not a serious coach. He is not a serious head coach. He didn't have this team prepared at the start of the game. Yes, the opening drive touchdown. That's the script. But then they had to settle for field goals. They looked like they had no heart. And god damn, Anthony Weaver and the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed at all today. Yes, they made big stops here and there in the fourth quarter, but it was pathetic all day long. And there were a lot of boos at Hard Rock Stadium. And yes, the fans left happy. The Dolphins win. They knocked the Jets out of the playoffs as if the Jets were going to the playoffs anyway. But this, in all of my years watching the Miami Dolphins, I would think of a game that had no stakes in it. The first thing I think about is the 2021 game against the Texans where they beat them, I think, 17-9. And that was definitely the least encouraging win ever as a Miami Dolphins fan. I think this game tops it. The fact that it took you overtime to beat a Jets team that is fucking atrociously bad, 3-9. It took you overtime to beat them. It's a disgrace. I'm not encouraged by it at all. They're still a soft football team. They just can't flat out tackle at all. They're 6-7, and I don't care, man. I seriously don't care. They're going to get their teeth kicked in next week by the Texans. So, all you Dolphin fans that are happy about this now, enjoy it. I'm certainly not. I'm not impressed by it at all. Enjoy it now because next week, the Texans are a really physical football team. They can run the football. The defensive line can get sacks. They're going to kick out teeth in next week. And this is not something to get excited over. Tua played great, sure. Tyreek had a 100-yard game, sure. But they're not a physical football team. They can't get pressure on the defensive line. They can't run the football. They just can't run the football at all, man. They stink. And the more games they win like this, the worse their draft stock is going to be. You lose this game, you're probably looking at a top 10 draft pick. Now we're probably looking outside the top 10. So, there's that. As if you don't know, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I know they won the game. A win is a win in the NFL, but man, it's a fucking disgrace that it took them overtime to beat a pathetic Jets team who flat out stinks. And this is the worst career of Aaron Rodgers' career. And you made him look like 2014 Aaron Rodgers out there today. So, we will talk about this game. We'll get into stats, everything about it. I will say, though, for the 3.5 hours, this was a long game. For the 3.5 hours that this game did go on for, this was one hell of a football game. Obviously, as a Dolphins fan, I'm sitting there fucking sweating bullets and everything. This game took years off my life, I feel like. I felt like this game lasted like 7 years, bro. This took years off my life. If you're a casual NFL fan watching this game, you probably thought this was an awesome game. And yes, this was an entertaining game to watch with a lot of points, obviously 32-26. Um, this game took years off my life. I'm so happy it's over. And I'm just ready to move on, man. I'm ready for this season to be over. That's my whole honestly. I'm ready for the season to be over. So let's get into stats here. The Jets, they're the away team, so we'll go with them first. Aaron Rodgers, 27 of 39, 339 passing yards, one touchdown pass. Braylon Allen had 11 carries, 43 yards. Isaiah Davis had 10 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. The Jets were without Breece Hall and Sauce Gardner in this game. And one thing I'm really interested about is how many missed tackles did the Dolphins have today? Because they were, my God, Braylon Allen was a bowling wrecking ball in the backfield. They couldn't tackle Garrett Wilson. They couldn't bring anybody down, I feel like. That's something I'll look at when we're finished this game. Talking about this game is how many missed tackles the Dolphins had. I'm very curious to find that out. The Jets had 200-yard receivers today. They were leaving them butt naked wide open. Garrett Wilson had 7 catches for 114 yards. Devontae Adams had 9 catches for 109 yards and a touchdown. Braylon Allen had 4 catches for 38 yards. Tyler Conklin had 3 catches for 33 yards. And Isaiah Davis had 3 catches for 27 yards. Then you look at the Dolphins side of things. Tua Tagovailoa, 33 of 47. There's no balance at all on this offense today. They couldn't run the ball, so they had to throw it literally every down in overtime. But it worked out. It worked out for them. 33 of 47, 331 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Devon Achane, 14 carries, 24 yards, and a touchdown. This man averaged nearly 2 yards a carry. It is sad, man. It was sad to watch. The Dolphins had 19 carries. You know how many rushing yards the Dolphins had today? They had 44 rushing yards. 44 rushing yards. That says something, man. Tyreek Hill, 14 targets. He had 10 receptions, 115 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle had 12 targets, 99 catches, and 99 yards. So he nearly had 200-yard receivers, but that did not happen. Devon Achane, 6 catches for 45 yards. And Jonnu Smith, 3 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. All of those yards came in overtime, not in regulation. He got all that in overtime. And the Dolphins had 3 sacks on the day, 1 from Jordan Brooks and 2 from Zach Sealer. So let's get the game started. The Dolphins get the ball first in the first quarter. They go 8 plays, 70 yards, in 4.5 minutes. Devon Achane gets a 7-yard run on the first play of the game. Then it's Tua to Waddle for 20 yards. Penalty on Javon Kinlaw for unnecessary roughness. Brings it down to the Jets' 28-yard line, where Tua goes to Tyreek Hill for 11 yards. Tua to Devon Achane for 14 yards. So they're at the 3-yard line. And it took them 5 plays. They started at the 3-yard line, first and goal. They got a penalty, defensive pass interference on DJ Reed. It took them 5 plays from the 3-yard line. 5 plays to get a touchdown. It just goes to show you how physically unmatched the Dolphins' offensive line is. That they can't push for a yard to get Devon Achane in the end zone. They eventually do on 2nd and goal, but holy shit, that was a shit show. Jason Sanders misses the extra point, and it's 6-0 Dolphins. The Jets then go 11 plays, 60 yards. Braylon Allen gets 7 yards. Tyler Conklin, 11 yards from Aaron Rodgers. 3rd and 8. Pass interference is called on Jalen Ramsey. I actually didn't like that call. I thought that was just good coverage from Jalen Ramsey, but they called a flag on it, which I personally disagreed with. 2nd down, Rodgers to Braylon Allen for 10 yards. Then Rodgers to Braylon Allen again for 12 yards. Then they go 3 and out once they get to the Dolphins' 18-yard line. Andres Carlson for a 28-yard field goal, and it is 6-3 Dolphins. And that was basically the end of the first quarter right there. Every possession in the first half was scoring drives, whether it was from the Jets or the Dolphins. The Dolphins go 10 plays, 49 yards. They take up 5.5 minutes on the clock. 2nd down, Tua to Tyreek Hill for 13 yards. Jalen Wright gets 5 yards on 2nd down. He gets 5 yards on 1st down, 6 yards on 2nd down. Tua to Achane for 9 yards on a screen. 1st down, Achane for a 5-yard run. They go 3 and out once they get to the Jets' 30, and incomplete. It's 3rd and 1. They couldn't pick it up. They have to settle for a field goal, 39 yards, and it's 9-3 Dolphins. Again, they are probably the worst team in the NFL when it comes to picking up first downs on short yardage. They are horrendous. Horrendous. The Jets go 6 plays, 70 yards. Rodgers to Wilson, 12 yards. 3rd down, false start on Allen Lazard. 3rd and 14. Anthony Weaver called a terrible game. This situation, he should have been blitzing Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't. Tyler Conklin picks up 10 yards. And on the next play, Jalen Ramsey gets fucking cooked by Garrett Wilson. 35 yards down to the Dolphins' 17-yard line. Next play, Isaiah Davis, touchdown. Dolphins defense was getting carved up all day by the Jets offense, who's a bottom 5 offense in the NFL. Again, not encouraged by this win at all. Dolphins go 12 plays, 65 yards, and they take up 7 minutes on the clock. Tua to Julian Hill for 14 yards. Tua on 2nd down to Tyreek Hill for 10 yards. Tua deep right to Tyreek Hill for 21 yards. 1st down to the Jets' 25-yard line. They go 3 and out until 4th down. They go for it on 4th and 2. And they pick up the 1st down to Jalen Waddle for 5 yards. It is now 1st down, Dolphins. Next play, they go a screen pass to Achane. Tua throws him a fucking hospital ball here. Achane leaves the game for a little bit, but he's able to return. Patrick Paul gets called for illegal formation. 2nd down, Tua to Jalen Waddle for 11 yards, and they get no gain on 3rd down. They have to kick a 24-yard field goal, and they take the 12-10 lead over the. They take a 12-10 lead over the Jets. The Jets go 11 plays, 58 yards on the next drive. It's 2nd and 20. Rodgers is sacked, but it doesn't matter. Zach Sealer gets called for a holding. The penalties on this by this defense was killing them all day as well. It wasn't just the fact that they were getting carved up by Aaron Rodgers. They could not get off the field on 3rd down, and they were getting penalties all day. Then blown coverage to Devontae Adams, 34 yards. I think he was covered by Kendall Fuller. I'm not so sure. But Braylon Allen gets 7 yards. Rodgers to Davante Adams for 7. Neutral zone is called on Chop. Then the Jets get a false start, and then it doesn't matter because the Jets still pick up a first down. Again, the Dolphins couldn't get they couldn't get off the field on third down. But on 3rd and 9 at the Miami 12, they finally do. And Andres Carlson kicks a 30-yard field goal. Jets lead 13-12. There's about 50 seconds left until halftime, I think. Maybe 30. I'm not so sure. But 41. Okay. Tua to Waddle for 10 yards, first down. Tua to Hill for 6. Tua to Waddle for 15 on second down. So they're down at the Jets' 39-yard line. They have to spike the ball. And Jason Sanders, beautiful, drills a 57-yard field goal. And the Dolphins take a 15-13 lead over the Jets going into halftime. And the Jets get the ball to start the next half. They go 7 plays, 70 yards, in 3.5 minutes to get a touchdown. Rodgers to Garrett Wilson. They left Garrett Wilson on an island by himself. That's pathetic, man. 42 yards, down to the Miami 26. Adams for 6. They couldn't tackle him there. 3rd and 2. Rodgers is incomplete. They go for it. It's an easy first down to Isaiah Davis. And then on the very next play, Rodgers to Davante Adams. 3-yard touchdown. Jets are up 20-15. The Dolphins have to punt. 4 plays, 22 yards. Tua to Waddle for 15 yards. Tua to Achane for 6. And they have to punt after a 1-yard pass on 3rd down to Odell Beckham. Shocked he didn't go for it there because the Dolphins defense couldn't stop him at all. McDaniel decided to punt. And the Jets took up nearly 8 minutes on the clock this drive. 14 plays, 58 yards. They nearly took up fucking 8 minutes on the clock, which is a disgrace. That's the key word of the day if you don't know. Disgrace. 3rd down, Rodgers to Isaiah Davis for 10 yards. Isaiah Davis picks up 6. 3rd and 4, Rodgers to Garrett Wilson for 8 yards. First down, Jets. Quentin Bell gets called for offsides. So 2nd and 5, Rodgers to Davante Adams for 16 yards. Down to the Miami 33-yard line. Braylon Allen gets 6 yards. Isaiah Davis gets 4 yards for a first down. Rodgers to Allen Lazard, but he gets called for illegal formation. And on 3rd and down, they get off the field. Thankfully, Jordan Brooks with a big sack. And Carlson kicks a field goal for 40. And the Dolphins are down 23-15 to the Jets. And on this drive, the Dolphins go 3 and out. And on 3rd down, they showed Mike McDaniel calling the play. And his hands were shaking. And I was talking to myself, and I'm like, Mike McDaniel is the biggest bitch ever. This guy is not built to be a head coach of a football team leading a group of men. That moment right there, I'm like, he's not our guy. He's not our guy to win us a playoff game for the first time in what's probably going to be 25 years after this season. He's not our guy. That moment right there. Last week, he was shivering on the sideline. This week, his hand is shaking. You don't think this guy's fucking nervous on the sideline? This guy's fucking nervous. They go 3 and out. The Jets, they go 3 and out. Rodgers on 3rd and 2, sacked by Zach Sealer. So now we go into the fourth quarter. The Dolphins, they have to score here. 9 plays, 60 yards. Third down, Tua goes to Tyreek Hill for 18 yards. Down to the Jets' 18-yard line. Tua to Jeff Wilson. I feel like that's the first time we've said his name all year. Jeff Wilson for 7 yards. Jeff Wilson for 4 yards. Penalty on DJ Reed for pass interference when he was covering Malik Washington. First and goal. Achane loses 3 yards at the 8-yard line. They tried to run the ball all day at the goal line, and it didn't fucking work. Second and goal. Tua to Waddle for 10 yards. He is stopped at the 1. And when I saw that he was stopped at the 1, I'm like, we're fucked. We're screwed. What happens on the next play? They hand it off to Achane. What do you think happens on the next play? Achane loses another 3 yards. So now it's fourth and goal. Thankfully, Tyreek Hill ran a beautiful route and got a touchdown. And then on the next play, Waddle converted the 2-point conversion. 23-all with 9:04 left. The Jets go 3 and out. The Dolphins get the ball. 5 plays, 21 yards. Tua to Tyreek for 9 yards. Where this drive stalled out for the Dolphins, it was 2nd and 7. Tua had just completed a 3-yard pass to Achane. Robert Jones gets called for holding. It ruins the entire drive. They have to punt. And I tweeted out, you're giving Aaron Rodgers, I don't care how bad he's been this year, you're giving Aaron Rodgers over 4 minutes to win the game for the Jets. We're screwed. And indeed we were. Second down, Rodgers dumps it off to Braylon Allen. They can't tackle him. He gets 15 yards. Rodgers to Garrett Wilson for 3 yards. Rodgers to Garrett Wilson for 6 yards. They couldn't tackle him. They had Garrett Wilson behind the line of scrimmage. And they couldn't tackle him. Kohu couldn't tackle him. Zach Sealer couldn't tackle him until Jordan Boyer brings him down. And then next play, 3rd and 1. Braylon Allen is running this thing up the middle. But guess what? He gets tackled behind the line of scrimmage again. But he picks up the first down. He powers his way through. And this soft-ass Dolphins team can't stop Braylon Allen. Rodgers to Adams for 16 yards. Rodgers to Lazard for 18 yards. They're set up at the Miami 27. Benito Jones makes a great play. Isaiah Davis loses 5 yards. Rodgers gets sacked on 2nd down by Zach Sealer. It is 3rd and 21 at the Miami 38-yard line. Devontae Adams picks up 14 yards. So this went from being a 55-yard field goal to a 42-yard field goal like that. Luckily, Fuller was able to push Adams out of bounds. Carlson bangs the 42-yard field goal. So now the Dolphins get the ball. And Malik Washington, I didn't think he should have taken this out. But man, he had a great fucking return on this play. He returns it for 45 yards. Up to the Dolphins' 46-yard line. So if they've got fantastic field position here to get into overtime. 2nd down, Tua to Tyreek, 14 yards. He gets pushed out of bounds. Incomplete to Waddle. He goes Waddle for 6 yards. They go incomplete. They had Tyreek Hill up the seam. Tua missed it. I feel like if he threw out the numbers, Tyreek Hill was gone. But Tua missed it. Luckily, though, Jason Sanders nails a 52-yard field goal right down the middle. 26-26. We're going into overtime. And the Dolphins, they win the coin toss. If the Dolphins did not win the coin toss, the Jets were going to win this game 100%. Whoever won this coin toss, their team was going down, scoring a touchdown, and winning the game. Luckily for us, the Dolphins win the coin toss. 8 plays, 70 yards. They finally included Jonnu Smith in this game. They go screen right to Jonnu Smith for 20 yards. They go screen right to Jonnu Smith for 14 yards. There's 34 yards right there. They get to the Jets' 36-yard line. 2nd and 9. Tua, Tyreek Hill, 9 yards. First down, Tua, Achane, 10 yards. Then a 3-yard gain on a run from Achane. 2nd down, Tua, Jonnu Smith, 10 yards. Ball game. There's your ball game. Dolphins win 32-26 over the Jets. And this was an absolute... This game should not have been this close at all. It should not have came down to this. But it did. And they just showed us how bad they are. So now I want to see how many missed tackles the Dolphins had today. I don't know. It's not showing me, but... I don't know. I can't find it. But they had 4 missed tackles on one play. And, they were... People want to think that the Dolphins are a playoff caliber team. And the Dolphins can make a run to the playoffs. Against a 3-9 Jets team, they played far from a playoff team. They are not physical. They are not disciplined. And I'm telling you, man, we're gonna get destroyed by the Texans next week. It's coming. It is coming. So celebrate this win now, because next week I feel like it could get ugly. So that's all the Dolphins talk for today. They got the win. A win is a win in the NFL, but I'm not happy about their performance. I'm really not. But let's talk about something that happened yesterday that was revealed earlier today, and let's talk about the college football playoff. So, yesterday, and if you see my Twitter, I tweet all the time about college football. Every single week. Yesterday was fucking insane. Today was crazy before the game started, before the Dolphins game started. This weekend's games was insane. Besides the Big 12 championship, I felt like every game came down to the last play. Georgia beats Texas in overtime with a backup quarterback and Gunnar Stockton. They beat Texas 22-19. Texas did not get punished for losing to Georgia. Penn State, they fight tooth and nail with Oregon. It was 31-24 at halftime. Penn State loses 45-37. They did not get punished by the committee. Clemson was absolutely destroying SMU. They were up 31-14 going into the fourth quarter. SMU scores 17 points. They score a touchdown with 18 seconds left. 18 seconds. SMU scores a touchdown. And Clemson, they get a great return and one play for 20 yards. They get set up for a 56-yard field goal, and the Clemson kicker drilled it right down the middle. So Clemson is in the playoff. But the big question going into today was it going to be SMU or was it going to be Alabama who gets the last seed in the college football playoff? And I could tell you, as an Alabama football fan, I love the Tide. They did not deserve to make the playoff this year. They didn't earn it. They got embarrassed by a 5-win Oklahoma team. And SMU making the college football playoff was the right decision. It was the right decision. They didn't have any impressive wins. I know Alabama beat the SEC champion, but you cannot lose to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. You can't do it. If they had beaten one of those teams, man, we're not even having this discussion right now. We're not even talking about this right now. Alabama is comfortably in the college football playoff if they had just beaten Vanderbilt or if they beat Oklahoma. And the committee proved today that losing your conference championship, you will not get punished. You will not get punished for losing in your conference championship, and if you're an SEC team who's 9-3, you're not making the college playoff. You're not making it. So the committee, they did the right thing. As an Alabama fan, it sucks. They're not in the playoff this year. The Jalen Milroe era is probably over. But let's talk about these games. All right, let's talk about this real quick. If they're even up yet. Okay. I don't know what I was talking about there, but we have first round matchups. Let's talk about the whole bracket. Oregon's the 1 seed. They deserved it. 13-0. Oregon's the 1 seed. Georgia, your SEC champion, they're the 2 seed. Boise State, what a season it's been for them. Ashton Jeanty is the best player in college football. He's better than Travis Hunter. Who's going to win the Heisman? It's probably going to be Travis Hunter, but Ashton Jeanty is a better football player than Travis Hunter is. Boise State is the 3 seed. Arizona State, the Big 12 champion, they're the 4 seed. And these are your first round matchups. You have the ACC champion Clemson as your 12 seed playing Texas in Austin, round 1. Your 9-8 matchup is Tennessee going to Columbus to face Ohio State. By the way, that Clemson-Texas game is a 4 o'clock kickoff on December 21st. Tennessee and Ohio State is a 8 o'clock kickoff on December 21st. SMU versus Penn State is a 12 o'clock kickoff on December 21st. So SMU is in the playoff. They make it over Alabama. They're going to go play in Penn State. A team from Dallas that's going to be playing in 20-degree weather. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm hammering Penn State on the spread in that game. Hammering them. And then your last first-round matchup is Indiana versus Notre Dame, which I think, out of all the games, that's the game I'm most excited for. That, to me, is the game I'm looking forward to the most. Indiana can play in the cold weather because we were worried about an SEC team going to South Bend and having to deal with the cold weather. Indiana is used to that cold, man. They're used to it. But the thing is, I feel like Indiana is a one-dimensional team. Indiana clearly has an advantage in the passing game over the running game. And we saw how they played against a good team like Ohio State. They got blown off. But Ohio State is way better than Notre Dame is, in my opinion. And Notre Dame really hasn't had an impressive win at all. So the fact that I thought they were going to be the 5 seed. The fact that they're the 7th seed, I think it's perfect. Because they really haven't had a big win at all this year. I guess you could say it was Texas A&M, but they placed it perfectly. But both teams are from Indiana. They're not in the same conference. But Notre Dame hates Indiana, and Indiana hates Notre Dame. Oh, baby! That's the game I'm looking forward to the most. That's a Friday night game on December 20th. That's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun game. And I'm not doing my predictions yet. We are going to do college football content on the channel for the playoff. I got to figure out the days, but we are going to do some content for college football here on the Big Fight Field channel. And there might be a vlog coming because we have Oregon in the Rose Bowl on January 1st, New Year's Day. We have Georgia in the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day night. They'll take on the winner of Indiana and Notre Dame. Oregon's going to take on the winner of Tennessee and Ohio State. Boise on New Year's Eve night in the Fiesta Bowl is going to take on the winner of SMU and Penn State. And the game that I will be at on New Year's Day, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, either Clemson or Texas is going to take on Arizona State. I will be at that game. I'm hell of excited for this. Arizona State is probably the hottest team in college football right now. They are such an incredible story. They were picked last by Big 12 experts to be last place in their conference. So they went from being projected to be in last place to be in this college football playoff. So to me, they're the Cinderella team in the college football playoff. Cam Scatterboo is fucking a train wreck, man. He is so fun to watch. This is going to be awesome. And whether it's Clemson or whether it's Texas, it's a good matchup anyway. It's a good matchup either way. So I'm very excited to get. I will be in Atlanta for New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, leave that Thursday. Nice little short trip. Go spend some time with my friend. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. But that is all I have. And that's from the Dolphins and college football. Again, we're going to do college football content on the channel. I think this week I'll actually drop my prediction for who wins the whole tournament, how I see the brackets. We'll do like a whole March Madness bracket kind of thing. And then the following week, we'll do preview for the games. And we'll do that in one video. So that's the way this is going to work out. So, and we'll get that video out before the Friday night game in South Bend between Indiana and Notre Dame. Kurt Signetti, Marcus Freeman, Curtis Rourke, Riley Leonard, South Bend, Indiana. Going to be 20 degrees. That's going to be an incredible game. That's a great way to kick off the college football playoff. So, I'm heading out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Field channel. Hit the like button if you like what you heard from me. Follow me on Twitter at Colin_Joseph and comment down below if you're a Jets or a Dolphins fan, your thoughts on today's game. And I'm going to get out of here, get some rest, go eat some dinner. I'm starving. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good night. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy. And I'm out. Peace!